What is going on, Teach Better family? It's a Wednesday. It's 5 o'clock here in the Eastern time zone, which means it's 4 o'clock in Dave's time zone because he's like just barely not in the Eastern time zone anymore. Anyway, that means it's your Teach Better team brain break today. My name is Jeff. I do have Dr. Dave with me today, which I'm super excited about. We're going to dive into all kinds of things like politics, religion, vaccine mandates.
I'll see you later, guys.
COVID information, misinformation, Facebook and their power and how it's the best. And no, we're not going to get into any of that stuff. Instead, Dave, we're going to talk about probably maybe some dad jokes.
Sure, always.
Maybe some silly stories. I feel like we're going to go through the potential birthday list of a 16-year-old kid, which can be really entertaining. And whatever else you want us to talk about. So drop in the comments. Let us know where you're watching from. What are you taking a break from? Do you have a drink with you? Do you have a snack with you? Are you in the car? Are you still in the classroom? Did you call off, play hooky today because you just wanted to wait and hang out with us? Whatever it is, drop in the comments. Let us know. Some green hearts are always appreciated as well. We'll be back in about 60 seconds. All right, welcome to Brain Break. We're here. You're here, Dr. Dave.
I am not in an airport today.
Before we go any further and do anything diving into the extremely, strictly serious topics that we're going to get into today, what are you drinking right now?
Oh, great question. I was just going to tell you, I could hear a little ice swirling around over there.
There's a little ice swirling around over here. I've got a Dave tall glass.
Oh, I love it. So today I am sampling a little Dr. Pepper with some spiced rum and maraschino cherries. So good. So it's like 85 degrees outside. It's nice.
So the fact that you get Dr. Pepper is so my wife's a big Dr. Pepper fan. So am I, and our daughter Jacqueline she loves Dr. Pepper. So we have to, we regulate that. So I'll occasionally get her the mini cans. They're like mini cans, and my wife, bless her heart, refers to them as Doogie Peppers.
That's amazing.
And I knew you would get that because you're of the right age, but I thought it was hilarious. Which, of course, me, instead of just taking that as a really great joke, I got all literal with it. But he was a doctor too, though.
Yeah, but
and then I ruined it. But I love it. So we still call him Doogie. We call him Doogie Peppers in our house.
I love that.
Just So you have Dr. Pepper, and what else is in it? What's in there?
Dr. Pepper, spiced rum, and some maraschino cherries.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I'm just rocking a little bit of ginger ale, Canada Dry. What's up?
Okay.
Canada friends, with some Knob Creek smoked maple bourbon.
Nice.
It's good. I'm gonna be grilling after this, so that's a great start. Good drink for throwing some stuff on the grill. And
I think I'm gonna go get some Mexican after this. There's a little Mexican restaurant right on the beach.
Nice.
Just gotta rub that in.
I have chicken cut up and marinated in barbecue sauce all day long because we are doing kebabs. So Jacqueline wanted to do dinner tonight, so I'm like, well, we'll do kebabs. We'll do chicken and onions and peppers and pineapple, and because then she gets to put them on the kebabs. And just before I came down here to go live, she told me she didn't want to put them on the kebabs anymore. So all that really happened is now I have a lot more work to do because she's not going to help me. So that's what happens when you plan with a 7-year-old.
I'm sure I'm going to make a lot of people upset here, but what you just described to me actually sounds like the toppings for an amazing pizza. Barbecue chicken, pineapple, maybe some peppers and onions, and that sounds like a good pizza.
The pineapple, I've never done that. I've done pineapple with ham and bacon, like a Hawaiian style, but I've never done it with barbecue chicken because I've also done barbecue chicken pizza, but I don't think I've ever done pineapple on the barbecue chicken pizza.
Just throwing that out there for you.
I'm interested in that though. Yeah, it's very interesting. So
when I grill chicken, ironically, I very rarely barbecue chicken, and meaning don't put barbecue sauce on it. Typically, I marinate it in Italian dressing overnight.
We do that a lot too. Kids love. I do. I'll either do. So we either barbecue. And I usually don't marinate it. If I'm barbecuing chicken, I don't marinate it. I just don't want to go do it because I cut them up into chunks for the skewers. I marinate. So normally I do barbecue, or I'll do the Italian, or I will do teriyaki. The kids like teriyaki too, so I'll do a teriyaki sauce in there. So those are my go-tos. Jonathan is not a fan of the barbecue, so when I barbecue, I keep a couple pieces with plain. But he likes the Italian, he likes the teriyaki, so that's good. So
this is gonna be a long hour for me as I'm sitting here thinking about food now for the next.
I'm very hungry.
Already
right
hungry. This isn't fair.
So I made some food for myself for lunch, and Amy got off work a little early and showed up like as I was cooking my food. So I'm like, oh, would you like some? So I only ate half of what I planned for lunch. So I'm hungry right now.
Yeah.
I'm blaming Amy for that.
I know you've always got crazy diets and streaks and fasts and all kinds of stuff. So put all that stuff to the side. Put all that stuff to the side. If tomorrow were your birthday, it's not. If tomorrow were your birthday and you got to choose your meal, what do you choose?
Probably
I was gonna say tomorrow's your last meal, but that's not fair.
Probably ribs. Like a full rack of ribs with either like a good sweet barbecue or like a good like glaze. Like I really like TGI Fridays has a really good. It's their glaze. I don't think it's Jack. I don't know if it's Jack Daniels anymore. I think they changed it. Is it still Jack Daniels glaze?
It still is.
Whatever the glaze is really good. So I like. Yeah, I think it'd be ribs, or I'm a big fan of wings. I love wings, man. So maybe it's just a couple piles of chicken wings. Some barbecue, some buffalo.
Is what you're saying.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm always like I need my food here and a stack of napkins and wet wipes. Wet wipes. Thank you. Over here. That's what
I think I've got too much facial hair for that because it would get everything sticky and matted and So
see, I was built for it. My facial hair does not come in super quickly, so I was built to eat messy. I think
that's how you were designed. You were designed for barbecue. I love it.
He said, I heard teriyaki and I'm all in for whatever you're talking about. Good. That's just actually our new nickname for Joe. Alex is we're calling him Teriyaki Joe. So it's just a thing. You can figure it out. Watch it later. So what's going on with you? You mentioned before we got going that you had a whole bunch of stuff for us to talk through. So like, do you want to check off the first item? What's the first thing?
Before we start getting deep and having philosophical discussions and all those things, I just desperately need some help from some people.
Okay. So before we get into the Trump versus Biden thing, we're going to go. I keep teasing like we're going to talk. We're not going to talk about that stuff, guys. I promise you.
If he goes there, guys, I leave and somebody else can join the condo. So a month from now, my oldest son turns 16. 16's a big birthday.
It's a big birthday.
We were joking around here at the house yesterday that we missed his quinceanera and we didn't buy him a fancy dress last year or anything. So he's 16 starting in a month. Back when I turned 16 was when you got your driver's license. But those days have changed now too, where typically now you got to wait till you're closer to 17. You got to have your driver's permit for a full year, which is like this crazy process. He doesn't get his driver's license until March. Yeah,
it's that what. In Ohio, it's the other way. You get it. You get your permit stuff at 15.
Yeah. So he got his permit at 15, but then you had to go through driver's ed, and then
you do that all while you're 15.
Yep. And then at the end of driver's ed, you have to wait a full year. You have to have a year of drive time before you can get your license. That's the way it is in Michigan, and the way it is in Florida, which is weird.
I don't know whether that's not how I believe it's in Ohio, but I can't remember last time I looked or cared about the laws of that, so I'm not sure.
Well, you'll find out soon. Yeah. So now, soon. Yeah. Well, so the moral of the story is he's not getting a car. So I don't want people to throw any of that up. I don't really know what a 16-year-old boy needs. Like he's got a list a mile long of the stuff that he wants, but also he says, I don't want to do anything for my birthday. I don't want to go anywhere. I don't want to do anything, which there's part of that says awesome, but I also know he'll feel bad if we don't do anything. So I'm just struggling right now.
What does he do? What does he do normally? Like, what's his does he do any? Is he into things? Video games, sports, books? Yeah, what is his thing?
He's into gaming. He's into gaming, but more than that, he's into like the production side. He wants to produce music videos. He wants to produce digital content. That's his dream. He has asked for
when you say digital content, like he wants to create YouTube videos, or he wants to like build video games or film movies, or
he would like to.
make
his
music.
dream job would be making music videos for artists.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, which is a neat little niche.
So I might have some connections.
Ooh, do tell.
What if we could figure out a way to like hook him up where like he can spend an hour, 2 hours, or a day, or whatever, like with someone who does that.
Ooh,
like almost like a day long, or maybe
let me pause real quick.
Or something.
Hey,
like
Cameron, if for some reason you're watching Brain Break for the first time ever, go earmuffs right now, okay? Just to make sure you're not listening.
Because my mind was going like, what if you could? When I was asking like what he was into, I was thinking like, is there like a certification program or an online course, or like something that goes on hands on or whatever that you could get him, that's like an experience that's also going to be great, like educational, but he should really enjoy.
Yeah.
That isn't like, oh, we're gonna go do something as a family that, he's 16, maybe doesn't really want to go out, whatever. He'd rather stay home and
that's another thing that breaks my heart. But we'll talk about that in a second.
So I would make him. I would make him whatever his favorite foods are, that type of stuff, and then tell him, hey, the day's yours, whatever you want. But like, what? I think we can talk, because I bet I've got some people we can. I know I have some guys I can reach out to that can get us to people. But I wonder if we could put something together where like, you know what I mean? Like where he gets like, whether it's an hour, a couple hours, or like a couple days where he gets to check in or whatever. Like,
that would.
It's not like an internship so much, but maybe it would lead to that. But like where he could ask all the questions, or they could like walk him through with a screen share of like, hey, here's how I do this. Here's the programs I use. Here's things to think of. Here's stuff you don't think about when you're dreaming about it.
It's an amazing idea, because a few years ago we switched up Christmas, and Christmas now we try to save up to do an experience with the kids. So on Christmas morning they open up and they get to figure out where we're going to go on a vacation the following year. It's like an experiential thing to try to make the memories, because we bought so much stuff that we end up just donating, and they forget they have it, and just got, I don't know. Yeah, so
my son
still, right now.
My 10-year-old son still has unopened toys from last Christmas in his room.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why are we still buying this kid toys? So I love that.
So now let me ask you this, because this kind of branches off into something else I wanted to talk about, but it's totally related to what you just said. So right now he is 15 years old, and he has his mindset on what he wants to do when he's older. And I know your thoughts on this a little bit, but he's 15 and thinks he knows what he wants to do.
Sure.
Do I continue to just foster the snot out of that and do all I can to give him as much exposure to this thing? Or is my responsibility as a dad to say, let me broaden your horizons and show you 1,000 other possibilities?
I think our responsibility as father is to allow them to explore all those other opportunities. But at 15, 16, think about it. If you go to him and say, hey, you should think about all these other things, he's going to not want to do any of them.
That's the truth, yeah.
If you allow him to dig deeper into, the same thing's going to happen if you push too much into supporting this, just because he ages that, in my opinion. And I don't know him, so
no, you're right.
Relationship, but like that, my thought versus, yeah, go for it. Like, and if I can help, great. But like, go explore, do your thing. I think the most important part is for if he changes his mind, hits roadblocks, whatever, that you say, hey, that's okay. We either need to let's see if we can work through it, or if you just pass this, then that's okay with me. Let's go explore something else. For him to know that it's okay to go, I think that for me is my big thing. And I know what you were alluding to is like, I think it's ridiculous that we try to decide things, but I also know that a lot of kids at 15, 16, 17, a lot of kids do have an idea what they want to do, even if they don't say it out loud.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's actually like, my problem is when they say, oh, I want to do this. And then it's like, okay, that's set in stone now.
Yeah.
It's like, well, no, the best thing is if they can get some sort of opportunity to go explore it, they need to know that it's okay to change their mind at 20 and again at 22 and at 25, or whatever that might be. And I actually think that, like, I'm looking at myself, I actually hurt myself when I changed mine because I tried to hide the fact that I was changing and adjusting for longer than I should have, not realize. And then when I finally did, my dad was like, okay, we just want you to be happy. And I'm like, boy, if I'd have known that, I wouldn't have, been drowning in sorrow for the last 18 months.
Jeffrey Raymond,
right? So
that is so deep on so many personal levels right there too. We'll go there.
But so to the point, if we can figure something out where he can go have an experience and get something really cool, like, and spend some time with someone who does that, who's a lot cooler than Dad's ever going to be in the current moment, right?
At least in his eyes. Come on, that's just
in his eyes.
Because there's no way.
Maybe it enhances and he gets really excited and he gets even more and he goes full on. And he gets really confirmed that that's where he wants to go. Maybe he learns something that he doesn't, and he decides maybe I shouldn't. Maybe he, I think about, and I'm having more personal things. Like when I first decided that I was going to do the record label thing, I was still living at home. I was, what was I? I don't know what I was. I wasn't that old. But I knew I wanted to do it. I knew, I talked to a bunch of people. When I started that, I called every record label I could find. I talked to anyone who talked to me, receptionist. I didn't care. I was trying to get as much info as I can out of what it was like, what it did, so I could try to figure out how to build it. And one of the common themes was like, don't sign your first act until you've established yourself a little bit. I'm like, well, I don't know what I'm doing. But what I did know how to do was put on shows. I've been doing it with my band forever. So I'm like, well, I'm going to do that, but I'm going to go bigger. So my dad, he's like, that sounds great. Let me introduce you to this guy I know who has a ton of money and there's a guy who would bring in like the acts from like 15 years ago that would come in and play like the Rib Fest, and the festival stuff. He brought them in. So like he knew how to deal with guys that were still prima donnas, even though they were out of their prime. Lots more zeros at the end of the numbers, stuff like that. And my dad set me up. I had like 3 different calls with this guy where he just gave it to me straight of like all the goods, the bads, the things to watch out for and all that kind of stuff. And for me, it gave me some good notes, but it also confirmed for me. I'm like, oh, I do want to do this because he tried to talk me out of it. So like, I think it's our responsibility to try and give kids as many opportunities for them to test out as much stuff as they want, not necessarily throwing a lot at them, but allowing them to explore and making sure they know that it's okay. And this is, I'm gonna quote Frank Reagan, if you know who I'm talking about, from Blue Bloods. He said in one episode, he was talking about whatever, and it wasn't necessarily this, but he said this line, I've always loved it. He said, your mom used to always say that life should be a series of daring adventures taken from a safe base or home base or something like that. And I think that's, when you think about this, it's the same type of thing. Like, he can go explore and do things if he knows it's okay to go out, mess up, make mistakes, change his mindset, because mom and dad are going to be like, hey, you're not a failure. We just need to figure out a new plan for you now. I think that's a big piece. So,
oh, that's so good, man. So all of that came from me saying, what should I buy my son for his birthday? And you basically said, buy him his life. Give him the opportunity to explore the rest of his life for his 16th birthday.
But I think it connects.
No, that's good, man.
I think it connects so much to what you're doing with the Christmas gifts. Is you're focused on experience, right? Because he doesn't need more stuff. If he wants a thing or a stuff, you can get him that, right?
Right.
But can you give him a cool experience that may or may not help his life and stuff? And to Alex asked me earlier, isn't that what you did in the past? Like, that's not really what I did in the past life, but I was in the music industry, so I know a lot of guys that do that. And I've got a few buddies that are multi like platinum selling like producers and stuff like that. And I actually know a couple guys that do videos. Not sure the guys I want your son to hang out with at all.
They're probably the people that he wants to hang out with.
They're probably he might want to hang out with us. But I have a couple guys in mind that I know should be able to connect me to some guys that, and I mean, who knows if they'll be open, but we're going to talk. I think it'd be fun. Be really cool.
Very cool.
I might request that I get to come too, but we'll see.
That's cool.
So,
and all the people in the comments, first of all, thank you for all of this stuff.
Yeah, lots of stuff going on.
So much. Just reading these comments right now, and I'm going to be cutting and pasting, capturing them all. So I love just the mindset of.
I love this. Just some additional from a lot. This is Elijah. Let him mention. Learn about things like choreography and music theory and composition, digital, like all that stuff. So because there is so much more that goes into the music videos. And also I think from to Elijah's point of that, expanding beyond the music videos, is it music videos because he wants to do music videos and he loves music, or is it just the idea of creating videos because there's a whole lot of things you can do in that world too? Or is it simply the idea of creating? Because that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've got the guy who played drums in my band for 5 years. The first couple I ever married, he's a grip. He works for Discovery Channel. It's a whole other world a whole nother side of the world of creating things where he's not doing the video work, he's building the sets and setting the lighting up and all that type of. So like, there's a lot of different ways you can go. I think could be really cool.
No, that's awesome. Yeah, that's so cool. I just while you were talking, I went and grabbed. This is a shameless plug for a guy I don't even know.
That's a great book.
Oh my gosh,
that's a great book.
For those of you that can't see it, Range by David Epstein. Book. Oh my gosh,
that's a book that I will tell you. Lots of really good stories in there too, but that is one. So I'm a huge fan of Blinkist.
Okay, yeah.
Blinkist, like it's essentially
the Cliff Notes.
The Cliff Notes. But they do a really nice job on that where you get everything you need out of that book from that. But if you buy the book, you get the stories, which just give it a little more emotional touch. I think so.
So good. And it's basically everything that you're just describing right now. It's giving kids, adults, everybody the permission to explore, to learn, and truly it paints this great argument for the idea of being a generalist, somebody that is willing to explore, adapt, evolve, change. I posted one of his quotes just the other day of how he believes it's more important to be science curious than science defensive. So many kids grow up thinking that they're supposed to just have their minds made up and then they spend the rest of their life defending their life choices, as opposed to constantly questioning, is this the best route? And
nope. I love Gary Vaynerchuk says all the time, specifically to be in the leader of a business, that being able to change your mind and change it quick and often is one of the is a superpower. Yeah. Because too many people get stuck and they say, well, that's what we decided, so that now we're doing it, even if it doesn't feel right at all. And too many kids do that. Too many of us are still doing that, going, well, I've got to go down this route because that's what I said I was going to do.
Because that's what everyone will look at me as though I'm a failure. Yeah.
I know. It goes back to I told the story a million times when I told my wife, and I said, well, if I'm not Jeff TF, who am I? It's like, well, I don't know. Yeah. So
it's good stuff.
Good stuff. Okay, so that's what we're getting your son. We know. So we're on that.
So basically what I heard you say is I'm going to set him up with somebody that knows how to quilt and knit so that he can learn a new skill set to apply to his life, making me a generalist. And no, that's awesome. That's a great idea, though. It really is, though.
All right, next up, we'll check that one off.
Done. Yeah.
Team, we are going. Can we get some green hearts in the comments for Dave's son and the fact that he's going to produce. We just actually got off the phone. We set up. He's going to produce the next video for Drake. It's incredible. This is gonna be such a good birthday present. He's probably actually now that he's probably like, who's Drake? That's like old. Isn't that like old?
Right. In his mind, like I'm gonna date myself. Like this is even before my time, but we know the day that the music died. In his world, the day the music died was when Juice WRLD passed away. Oh. Just to give you some context of, you might not even know who Juice WRLD is, but I didn't know who he was if it wasn't for him. So it's just, that's kind of his world. But I'm looking at the calendar. His birthday, November 17th, happens to be a Brain Break Wednesday. I'm just saying, I might have to bring a new 16-year-old on Brain Break with us.
Oh, okay. We should
see what we can do.
That could happen.
And Ray, yes, Tim McGraw. Let's talk about what happened with Dave's Idol.
What's going on with Tim?
It wasn't today. It was this weekend.
What's up with Tim?
Tim McGraw was singing at a concert and unfortunately forgot the lyrics to one of his songs. And while he was on stage, there was a guy in the front row that just started heckling him. Tim McGraw did not take the high road. Tim McGraw told his band to stop, and he jumped off the stage to confront said heckler at the concert.
And what happened?
Yeah. Well, they just had
some bad PR for Tim McGraw.
Yeah, they had some words. Obviously, all the cell phones in the world came out, and they recorded Tim McGraw getting a little upset. He got back on stage and finished the show, but he is now in Us Weekly, People Magazine, Entertainment Tonight, all the things for getting his lyrics and
because he was doing so. He was having a nice run on TikTok, winning over a lot of people.
All the duets.
He was duetting everyone and like doing a whole lot of duet videos, reacting to people singing his songs, and like it was all like genuine. It was like he was winning a lot. So,
yeah. Well, he still is. But the fact that I have Ray Hewitt here following Tim McGraw's moves, I'm counting that as a win. Whatever it takes.
Yeah. So, well,
she actually. So last week we were in Illinois, and during the presentation we were doing at Alex's school, I have a Tim McGraw video as one of my transitions. She has some homework that I'm still waiting on. She actually recommended or suggested that we'll have Tim McGraw just standing there like a GIF for like 3 minutes doing weird things on repeat for the transition. So I'm waiting for that, Ray. See what you can do for me.
I'd like to see in the comments if anyone agrees or disagrees with me that Ray would also jump off the stage and confront the person which is he probably won her over more with that. She's like, yeah, that's my kind of guy.
Well, I'm just glad I wasn't at that concert because I would have been down in the front row pushing Tim out of the way saying, I got you, buddy. I got you.
Now, what you should have been doing is jumping up on stage and helping with the lyrics.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm there.
So both Alex and Ray agree that she would.
Yeah.
All right. So okay, where are we going? So that was a sidetrack.
Sort of. I mean, it's not even sidetrack. It's like you can read my mind and you know the things I want to talk about. Because we're talking about my son, life dreams, goals, ambitions. Today, a 90-year-old man crossed something off of his bucket list.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to let you sit here and disrespect me and Alex and Ray and Elijah in the world by calling him a man and not a legend. But go ahead.
Okay.
A 90-year-old
legend.
Thank you.
Fulfilled his destiny in life. The person I'm speaking of is Captain Kirk, a.k.a. William Shatner. Went into space as a 90-year-old. Dude, it's insane. He went into space, and I don't know if you've seen any of the footage, but he came back down to Earth after his 5 minutes or whatever it was. Regardless,
William Shatner hasn't been down to Earth in a long time.
Well, let's be real. But I'll tell you what. When he came back down, he was the most coherent that I have seen this man in 40 years. And he was crying. He was emotional. Said it was the most emotional experience he's ever had in his life. And I'm thinking, imagine this. Since the 1960s, he's been talking about space, pretending to be living in outer space. Some people would argue even while he's on Earth, he's been kind of in outer space for a while. Yeah. But he actually did it as a 90-year-old and was like, I've done it. I accomplished my dream.
How long was he up for?
It was just a matter of minutes.
Like Bezos did, where they were like
sort of,
just on the edge, kind of.
Yeah. Correct. Yep. Actually went up in the Bezos Blue Origin.
Did anybody go? Was he? I mean, he wasn't alone, right?
No, he wasn't alone. He was with a couple of other people, but
that also had a lot of money.
Correct.
Yeah.
But he didn't. I don't think Shatner had to pay his way. I think he was the honorary captain, if you will.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is pretty cool. First of all, A, would you want to go to space? And B, what thing would you want to like? If you see your whole life building towards something, what's it building towards? What's that defining moment where you're like, this is where it all goes?
It's not space.
Okay.
I don't know what it is. That's a deep question that I don't know the answer to.
So you're basically saying you have no idea why you're here, Jeff Gargas. You just go through the motions every day.
No, I think for me, this is terribly morbid. Like mine is more for like, I want a whole bunch of people to show up at my funeral. Like, is that bad? Like, I mean, I just like, which I guess goes like, if I can maybe not go quite to my death, it's like the idea of someone telling me I changed their life, or that type of, like, it's a significance thing. I don't have like a thing where I'm like, oh, like I don't want to go to space. I have zero interest in going to space, like unless the planet's in danger and we have to. Like just like I have zero interest in ever skydiving. Like that doesn't. I'm like no interest, not at all. Would like so like I don't have those things, so I'm not sure I have that bucket list type of thing like that. I don't know.
So what would be what's the coolest thing that you've done so far? And not talking sentimental. Don't say having kids and getting married. Don't do that.
Sure.
I know
that's definitely not the coolest
snorkeling type thing, or something else.
It's the coolest thing I've done so far. I don't know. What would I pick from? I think one of the cool. I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. Man, I must not live a very cool life. I think one of the cool, so for me, one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me is actually when I got, this is, gosh, I don't know, years, I still get it every year, but when I got my first invitation to the Grammys, so way back when I was a member of the Grammys, because I was in the music industry, and.
Can we just stop on that for a second? Can you just sit there and celebrate the fact that you were a member of the Grammys?
It just means you filed for membership and we're in.
Yeah, and I haven't. That's pretty cool, dude. That's amazing.
But there was a young artist. He plays. He was young at the time. I guess he's a little bit older than me, but he was young in his career at that time. Does all musical. It's all
hold on. You just said he was a young artist, but he's older than me. So
he's slightly older than me.
I heard that.
He's
so
older than me, but at the time,
young.
but this was 15 years ago. So like he was young in his career, a bit like growing his career, and he plays like world like instrumental music, really great stuff. And he reached out to me as a label, and like we got this conversation. I was very honest. I'm like, I can't, like, you're beyond where I'm going to be able to help you at all. We had a really good thing. He's like, well, would you mind putting in a vote for me for the Grammys? I said, yes, of course. Didn't talk to him for like 3 years, 3 or 4 years. Man, it's longer now. This is after I closed down the label. I get an official like Grammys. I have it somewhere. It's in one of my boxes, like a Grammy invitation to the Grammys. And I'm like, why am I getting this? I haven't been a member of the Grammys for a while. And here it's from him, with a note in there. He's from India. And there's a note in there thanking me for my humbleness and my support, or because I voted every year that I could for him in that category, but just, it was just a random message, whatever. He had finally been nominated and was going to the Grammys, and he wanted to invite me as one of the, because he got so many guests into an after party, and he had left like, there was a type of dust, and I'm horrible for not remembering what it is. That was a type of like tradition in India for like good luck and stuff, and he had shared a packet of that with us and stuff, whatever, invited Amy and I out. We weren't able to go, but he ended up winning the Grammy too. Oh my God. And I've been he's invited me to the Grammy, not to the Grammys, but to the Grammy after party for the last 10 years now. And for me, that was one of those moments when I'm like, that's a super cool thing. I didn't go, like that wasn't the thing, but for me, it was like years after we talked, and I had to like kind of remind myself of who exactly he was, and then like relived it. I had made an impact on him from the things that I said in a conversation where I told him that I couldn't help him. Mm-hmm. And like he called hoping to get a record deal with a label in the United States. And I'm like, well, that's not going to happen. I can't help you. But we had a really good conversation. Just that type of stuff to me is like, for me, like one of the coolest things that could happen ever. And if she's watching, it'd be awesome, is for Brittany Wolf to like headline a major conference or just become a massive name in the world of Tourette's and awareness, because when she got her first opportunity, if someone wanted to speak, like she came to me, and then we brought her on like onto the speaker and took on her. Like that's the type of stuff for me that for me is the coolest stuff. I don't know if that's
is
that
awesome.
lame? Is that whatever? I don't know if that's
if you're not following her on TikTok. People
yes.
follow her. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Like she's so good on Instagram, but her on TikTok is so good.
Yes.
She's she did last night about her husband looking like Seth Meyers. So good. And her husband Scott's awesome too. So yeah.
But for me, like those are the type of things that for me, where I'm like, I just want a whole bunch. That's the stuff that matters. Like I have goals. Like I would love to. I've always had a dream of being able to like donate enough money to buy my old high school a brand new stadium. And yes, I'd want to put my name on it. Like, little things like that. But like, it's always been weird. I've never had this like, oh, I want to go to Paris. I want to go here. I want to go, like, that's just not things that I get excited about. Would it be cool? Yeah. And will I do it? Maybe. I don't know. But I certainly don't want to go to space.
Why?
Because there's enough stuff that can go wrong down here. It's like, I don't know. That's how my mind goes. I'm like, no, I really have no interest of getting in a plane to jump out of it. Like when I talk about the sky, I had an old buddy of mine that used to push. He's like, are you scared? I'm like, no, I'm not scared. I just have zero interest. I've never seen that. I've always seen it like, oh, it looks cool. I'm sure it's a blast, but I've never went like, boy, I wish I could do that. Like, it's just not my, I don't know, it's hard for some people to understand.
Yeah, it's hard for me to understand. I do it in a heartbeat.
Which is,
have you
ever done it?
Yes.
I was gonna say, it'd be surprising me if you hadn't. I think you told the story.
Yeah. I've my bucket list is dwindling, which is scary because that means the bucket is coming closer.
Oh, you're running out of time.
Yeah. I'm old. I'm not as cool as Alex. I have not sang in Carnegie Hall. Probably good for everybody. But I did go skydiving. I've driven a NASCAR.
Cool.
I've been to 46 of the 50 states. So I still have a few more to go.
Cool.
Have not been to outer space yet, though. Have not been to Australia. Like, I would love to go to Australia.
I'll give you that one. I've always wanted to go to Hawaii, and I've never went. That's one of the only places I can think of that where I'm like, oh, yeah, I really want to go there and never have.
Somewhere else you haven't been before, Jeff Gargas? Pensacola, Florida.
No, I haven't. You're right.
Just saying.
So, right, he said, Alex said about, what did he say about Carnegie Hall? Not as cool as Carnegie Hall, but I did get my name announced twice in what is now Quicken Loans Arena. It was Gun Arena at the time.
Okay.
Because I played a hockey tournament there. And it's hilarious. You'll enjoy this because we're sitting there like watching the first games go, and we're sitting in the stands and like, you know, the name, like the big school board and the names are up there and stuff. My coach is joking. He's like, "You're going to get your name on there." And I, you know, for scoring a goal. And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm going to try." And he goes, "For a goal or for a penalty?" I'm like, "A penalty." And I'm like, "Either?" Well, I got both. We literally first face off, first period. I'm playing left wing, slides over. I take 3 pushes up to the blue line, release a wrist shot, 5-hole, score a goal. And then later on, I punched the guy in the face and got 2 minutes in the box. So
hold on.
It was great.
I can imagine you shooting a goal because you're an athlete. I can't picture you punching somebody, Jeff.
Fun story. It was completely out of like. So my team that I played was a club team. It was like the manager was a woman named Sharon Sabatka, if I'm saying her name correctly still, and she was the only female manager. And there's no female coaches, nothing like that in all the league. And prior to that game, we were walking around, and this kid on another team, was talking some smack about how a woman shouldn't have anything to do with it and all this stuff like that. And we were like her cubs, like she protected us, and so we got tangled up in the back of the goal, and like he was pushing me, and he threw a couple punches too, and I'm like I realized, I'm like, oh, this is my opportunity, so I decked him one, and we both went to the box. Well, Sharon was always in the box. Normally, if you went to the box, like she reamed you out while you're in there, and I sat down like ready to just like get it, and she just kind of leans in and gives me like a shoulder push, and it's back, and I'm like, oh, okay. So yeah, it's my story. Boy, that just took me back. That was senior year of high school. Wow. Long time ago.
Man, that makes me. I'm like reflecting and thinking and doing a whole lot right now. Like those moments where your kids do things. So like I'm thinking about my kids when they do stuff, and you're supposed to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't have done that," but in the back of you, you're like, "That's my boy, that's my girl," you know. Like
we got to look at the reasoning for it, right?
Yeah.
You know, like I think about the times where, you know, my older brother Mark like did something like, you know, punched someone, tackled someone, whatever, took someone out like as a goalie in soccer or whatever, but he did it because he was sticking up for his little brother. I'm like, like you can kind of let that one slide. What are my parents going to say? Like, don't do that.
Yeah. Right.
You know, so
oh, so many things that could open up. I don't know if I want to go down that path.
Anyway, so it's less about places and things for me. It's more about impact on people. Like that's what I've realized about myself.
So when you say impact on
I used to want things. I used to want a Porsche. Like I wanted to own a Porsche. I wanted to buy a retirement home down in
Pensacola, Florida.
Lake Norman, North Carolina.
Okay.
Like I wanted to buy a beach house in Pensacola, Florida.
There you go.
Like things like that. But I'm like, as I got older, I'm like, no, that's not for me. That's not what it is. What I want is and I know I do this a lot, but one of the reasons why like Gary Vee I've connected to his content is because he has similar things, and he says things better than I can. And one of the things he said was like he said once that he wants it to make sure that when he's not around and you are in a conversation with someone else and his name comes up, that you say good things and you defend him. And that's for me is the same thing for when I'm not around and when I'm no longer around.
But the cool thing about you though, Jeff, is I don't know that anybody ever needs to defend you other than the guy that you punched that one time. I don't know that a whole lot of people would say anything bad about you. So I think that's even a bigger testament.
I'm confident
they're undefendable.
There are plenty of people who could say bad things.
Okay, well,
I can't imagine.
So people, let's fill the comments right now.
Say as many bad things about Jeff Gargas as you can.
Let me step up and defend him real quick. Tell me something that you need to get off your chest.
Okay, so who was this? Was this Elijah? That is one thing. Not free. I would love the cage dive with sharks.
Why? See, that's like, because you reacted to space. That's how I react to this. Why? No.
The reason is because I'm fascinated by sharks. I love sharks.
See, okay. So
Shark Week is a big deal in our house. Like it's just I have shark tracking apps on my phone where I track sharks all over the place. I really like sharks.
Feel free to talk amongst yourself. I'm about to send you something. So
What do you-
here in my neighborhood, we've got a beach and like a dock out into, it's called Perdido Bay.
Yeah.
So Perdido Bay is
Which comes
connected
off
to
the Gulf Coast.
it's connected to the intercoastal, but it's also fed by a freshwater river. So
bull sharks.
Well, it's interesting, right? Yeah. So I've gone out there a few times to look for dolphins. I've seen dolphins a couple times. It's so cool.
That's cool.
There's people that go out there fishing, but it's like they call it brackish water because it's freshwater meeting saltwater, swamp areas, whatever.
Yeah.
So 2 weeks ago, somebody from our neighborhood, there's a neighborhood Facebook group, posted a picture and said, if anybody's ever wondering if there are sharks in the neighborhood in the bay, this guy was just fishing off the dock, and it was probably a 15-foot shark of some. Wow. I don't care what kind it was, but I was like, nope, because I've got a paddle board that I've yet to take out there that is not going out there now.
That's not going.
Last night on the local news, there was a story about how some people, I don't know how to describe these people, some people caught a 12-foot alligator at the river that feeds the bay. 12-foot alligator, 10-foot sharks all in the same water base. I'm like, are you kidding me? It's no longer paradise. Now I'm staying far, far away. There's no way.
Yeah,
no way.
well, I mean,
and you want to do that for fun.
No. I want to go to cage with trained divers on an expedition that's meant to view the sharks. I don't want to live in an area where I might actually fall like step in a puddle that has a 12-foot alligator in it.
It's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. 12. Think about 12 feet. That is me standing on top of your shoulders. Like that's a big alligator.
It's a big alligator.
That's ridiculous.
That's a big. Is that an alligator in the back barking?
Yeah, that is a little 2-foot multi-poo that thinks
that's that's what an alligator calls it, or appetizer. Anyway, so what do you send me a picture of it?
I'm gonna send you. I don't know.
What's next on your list? I feel like we got off your list a little bit.
Can you see that at all, or is the light?
Your ring light's hitting it, but
still not very good. Anyway, it's a picture of a shark. It's a picture of a shark.
So share it. Can you send it to me?
I got you. Yep.
Ping it. Can you ping it to me?
I got you. Yep.
Okay. Maybe I'll bring it up on screen.
Okay.
So Elijah was like swimming like face of black was just sharks are swimming in circles. Biggest was 11 feet long.
That's just crazy. I don't care if it's 2 feet long.
Elijah, what kind of sharks were they mainly? Were you with great whites? Were they reef sharks? What were you swimming?
Does it matter? Does it matter?
Yeah, it does matter.
Why? It's a shark.
Yeah, but I want to know what kind of shark. Just that it matters for my
curiosity. Did it have teeth or not? It had teeth.
It matters. Right? Well, because if it's a nurse shark, it's a much different story. Because nurse sharks are extremely docile. They're not going to. They're very unlikely to do anything. If it's
unlikely,
if it's a mako super fast. If it's a reef shark, depending on what kind of reef shark it is, it could be very aggressive or not.
I feel like sort of like the coach of the other team you played in hockey was like, that Jeff Gargas, go ahead, you can hit him. He's unlikely to retaliate. And look what happens, right? So,
oh wow, look at that. Okay, here we go. We're gonna do a share screen, and I'm gonna do my Chrome tab of Dave Schmittou. Let's see if I hope I grabbed the right tab. Did you see that?
I see it in the bottom.
Okay, I gotta bring it up. There you go. So that was outside of your.
Somebody caught it. They were just fishing off the dock.
They caught that. What is that?
It's a shark. I don't care what kind it is. It's a shark.
I'm curious what kind of shark is that? That's hard. It looks like maybe a blacktip of some sort. Anyway. Galapagos sharks. Yeah, he was fine. He wasn't in any danger.
What? So Galapagos, like AKA where survival of the fittest got its origins, right?
It reminds me. There's a comedian. I can't remember who it is. I don't know if it's Nate Borghese who he talks about how like. Because do you guys ever think about how it's weird that like we're the only species in the world where we consider the female species or female sex to be like weaker? He goes, which don't even get me started on the fact that that's just stupid anyway. But like, can you imagine if we did that with other species? Like, man, can you believe Dave got eaten by a girl shark? Like, and that's just what I thought about right there. Like, does it matter what kind of shark it is? No, it doesn't. It also doesn't matter whether it was a male or female. Like, they still have teeth, right? Yeah.
That's funny.
Anyway,
you don't need to show this, but I just sent you just for for fun. Picture the 12-foot shark too. So 12-foot alligator.
Gator.
Just for fun. Yeah. That's just crazy.
That's a big old gator.
Yeah, yes, it is. Because a 12-foot gator doesn't eat little bitty minnows swimming in a pond. To get 12 feet, you're eating big old things, which also leads to what are these big things that the gator is able to eat to grow to be 12 feet? I mean, it's just my mind was just spinning.
So if it makes you feel better, the sharks that are in your area probably go out to feed. So you're probably safe.
Well, then what was it doing up front? Trying to eat something that the guy was fishing, and the shark was trying to eat.
It might have been. So... Yeah, actually, probably does come into feed, depending on the shark. Well, I was gonna go into, but the alligator will just eat anything anywhere. So, you know what? You know where there are no sharks or alligators? Michigan. No sharks or alligators.
Yeah, I actually have a Michigan shirt, unsalted and unsharked. Yeah.
Hi, Bree. Yeah. Good to see you, Bree.
Yeah.
Okay, what's next on your list? You said a bunch of stuff, and I don't feel we've actually. I mean, we covered the most important one, which is.
Well, we kind of have. I want to go back to what you were just talking about, though, a few minutes ago.
Which I don't know.
Now I got distracted talking about sharks and alligators.
Okay.
You talk about how you want to help people make a difference, or you want to help people accomplish their goals and dreams, or be successful. I don't remember how you defined it, but
I want people to love me, Dave.
Is that that's kind of the question I have.
I want.
Is it that simplistic that it's you want to be adored? You want people
want to be adored.
So what if somebody, aka Brittany Wolf, does something amazing and forgets about you?
That's okay. Well, so see, there's a piece of that where I guess it's not necessarily about being adored or admiration, but like knowing that I had an impact. But yeah, I would be. It would hurt in a sense, but I would still have the internal satisfaction of knowing that I had something to do with it, and there's something there to me. But yeah, I'd be a little bit like, didn't really appreciate that you forgot about me, but like I wouldn't, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I guess for me, I'm like, well, she forgot about me. Then apparently, maybe I didn't have as big of anything to do with it as I thought.
but not necessarily, right? Like, you use me for example. I mean, I'm doing amazing things here. I'm changing the world, right?
As we speak, actually.
And other people might say, oh, it's because you know Jeff Gargas, but I know the truth. It's all me. You've got nothing to do with this, right? Yeah. But again, that would be my own ego and my pride getting in the way of the reality of the situation.
Yeah.
So is it success for you to break people's egos and make them realize they need other people? Or, I mean, what? Because I struggle with what you just said. It hit me, and that's why I wanted to follow up on that, because I want people to be successful, but I want people to know they're successful because of me. Like, I know that's so arrogant, but
no, there's definitely a part of me that's an important piece. I want people to know, but I also don't feel like I need them to tell everyone necessarily. Like,
but a thank you goes a long way. You want them to reach out to you and just be like, I appreciate it. Whether or not they broadcast it to the world, you want them to acknowledge it, don't you?
Yeah, of course I want that to feel good, but I don't believe that I need that.
Mm.
It's always
You're
nice.
Such a better person than me.
So this just brings me to, this is an interesting touch that I actually just recently had this conversation with someone. That's, to me, I think about that similar to if I send you a birthday card, birthday gift.
Yeah.
And I get angry because you never tell me thank you.
Yep.
I did it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
If I did it for the accolades, then
agreed.
But with that said,
I want to preface this
and say that still feels really good and it's really nice, right?
That's what I was going to say. Yeah, I'm not trying to say I'm a good person for wanting the parade,
but you're not a bad person for wanting that either. Like, that's not what that feels good. Of course, we want that. Like, and I want to hear too. I'd love to have someone speaking somewhere and talk about how I impact them. That would be amazing. But to me, I don't need that to be happy or successful. I need to know that I had impact, which obviously someone has to say something to me, or I have to just know. So like, if you put it like your example, right? Like, if you grew like whatever you ended up doing, but you like were always like, it's me, like, I'll know the truth.
Yeah.
Well, but also, like, for me, also, like, in my mind, if that's the type of person you are, chances are I don't care as much.
Yeah.
About not necessarily as much about your success, but more about your admiration, because it doesn't carry the same weight, if that makes sense.
Yeah, totally. And
because you're a bad person.
Yeah, this is true. I mean, we know that, but what you're describing, it is that, and we've talked about this offline, and we've talked about it here before too. It's sometimes I find myself in that trap of just that icky ugliness where sometimes I feel like I'm chasing those sorts of things, chasing the accolades, because
totally get it.
On the business side too, it benefits, right? And also on the personal side, it fills the ego. But at the same time, you're doing all that, at times you can just feel like, ugh, it's not about me, but it is about me. And it's weird. Like, example, when one of my books gets released, I'm looking at the Amazon reviews. I'm looking at Goodreads to make sure that people are commenting on it. Not part of it is because that drives the algorithm and allows people to see it, but also because it just
feels
my
good
ego. And
yeah, that's okay.
Does that really matter though? I mean, it's so weird.
It's okay. It's just there's nothing wrong with that mattering. You'd be full of it if you said it didn't. Anybody who says that they don't feel good when they get a like, when they get a comment, when they get a retweet, when someone they respect comments or retweets or quotes or whatever, anyone who says that they don't care about that at all, they don't get anything of that is lying.
Yeah,
flat out, you're lying. But there's nothing wrong with that. It's okay. The problem is when that becomes the only thing that matters.
True story.
When it becomes the actual driving force, and it changes the reason why you do things or the things that you do because you're chasing that.
Yes.
And that doesn't mean that if that's happened that you're a bad person, but that's when it becomes a bad thing. But to say, the fact of the matter is, if you didn't care about that, you wouldn't, like, social media wouldn't be a thing.
That's true.
Now you can argue, someone could argue, yeah, but that's a great platform for sharing. Yeah, it is. It's a great platform for sharing and stuff too. But it wouldn't have formed into being what it is right now. It wouldn't be a good platform if it wasn't true that one of our natural emotions is to feel good when someone does or give some sort of positive feedback to us. Like, that's just the reality of it. So
you're right.
There's nothing wrong with liking that.
So I'm gonna circle this back and talk about, like, teaching, for example. We had conversations yesterday in Mastermind, both morning and evening, about the impact of teaching and how do we make sure that teachers stay in it if that's their desire, or how do we recruit other people. I think that's one of the challenges of teaching too, is teaching is truly the art of delayed gratification. Because especially if you're an elementary teacher, you're waiting 20 years to see if what you did possibly made an impact, or you
and 27 of those years might be the opposite.
Right. Yeah. And you're sitting around just hoping that what you did worked out, where, like, on social media, you know within minutes whether or not somebody liked it or commented. And there are some people that do things, like you said, strictly to try to get that reaction from people, to try to get the comments as opposed to make the impact. But in teaching, we know that people do it for the impact, but yet trying to get that endorphin rush, or that just to feed the ego a little bit, to let you know that you are doing the right work, is so sporadic. Yeah. Instead of what we get is typically all what you're not doing right, which is all another story.
Which is why me as a parent, when I see something positive from my kids' teachers, I try really hard to make sure that they know that I noticed it, that I appreciate it, and that I appreciate them for it, because I don't do it nearly as enough, especially if I'm thinking about it right now. I'm like, I don't do that nearly enough. But, like, it's really important because, because, like you said, you might have to wait 20 years, but also, like, the next 3 years after you have that student, they may do horribly in school, and you're like, oh, I did that. And, like, it's the reverse, right?
Right.
And even if you get the kid who comes back and tells you that you made an impact on them, that might not happen until they're in 10th, 11th, 12th grade, or graduated, or again 20 years down the road, if ever. I would venture to guess that the majority is never.
Yeah.
Like, I'm thinking about myself. I've never went back and told any of my teachers that they impacted me. Like, not because none of them did, but because I just never thought about going back and telling them. Like,
it's interesting. I had one teacher, Mrs. E. Foster, who I talk about all the time. But by the time I got up the courage to look her up, it was too late, and those are those horrible things. So I would even challenge other teachers, reach out to the teacher across the hall too. You don't sit around and wait for the parents or the students to check it on. Reach out to each other, because your own words can be profound. Like, it's amazing. It's amazing.
And think about how you long for that. and it's okay to long for that. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, and try to give that, if you can, some form of that to your colleagues and other people. Like, that's
for sure. I know our Teach Better ambassadors have a training coming up. I think Brianna's leading it about the love languages.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes. And one of the love languages is words of affirmation, right? It's something that some people desperately need. It's not a want. They need to not just feel validated, but to feel loved. It might not be you. You might not necessarily need the words. You might need actions, or you might need gifts or service, or whatever. But some people do. So err on the side of caution. 20% of people do. So share those words whenever you can.
Yeah. I want to thank it was Bree that said that there. Thank you, Bree. And then this was Elijah. Elijah, thank you. Appreciate that a whole lot. Or wait. That was Bree. That was Elijah. So appreciate you all.
Well, to be fair, I think it was just Bree that said that one.
Oh, and Danielle, that's awesome. Thank you so much for that. I love that.
Bree, I think, was it Bree that said both of you had a tremendous impact?
That was, so I'm looking in the group here. That was Elijah.
Elijah.
Well, they both,
So the problem, and you have an impact on so many, Jeff. So neither one of them used the word positive, just to throw that out there. They did not say positive impact.
That's a good point.
An impact. So,
well, one was a tremendous. Like, it could go either way too.
Right. I'm going to the Mexican restaurant tonight, and it could have a huge impact on me. Right? Doesn't necessarily mean it's a positive thing. I could have a margarita, or I could have the chimichanga. That just throwing that out there.
It's a good
impact
point.
Means a lot of different things.
Oh, maybe they were being nice by being vague.
So, Jeff, you are a chimichanga in my life, sir.
Oh, wow. Okay. Where? So we covered it. We went deeper than we were supposed to.
Yeah, I had some surface level stuff, but whatever. We talk once we start talking William Shatner, we're just gonna.
We have a couple. We have like 3 minutes. Do we want to hit like one more like surface level thing, or do we need to go, or should we just call it a day and get chimichangas?
So I'll just ask you a surface level. So my shirt, is it inside out or not? Here's the question for the day. Can you see it? Because
the pockets, the way that it is, I'm saying it's not inside out.
Okay. Look at the inside of it. The inside is the same as the pocket. Can you see that at all?
So is it reversible? Right? What is it?
This is crazy, right? So my daughter got this for me.
This is like the whole dress. Was it blue or black or yellow or whatever it was?
It's so cool. Ago? So yeah, it's a black and white Superman.
Cool. I don't think cool is the right word, but go on.
No, the story is cool because my daughter got it for me. So, but when she got it for me, she was like 6. And when she first got it, she was super sad because she's like, "Oh my gosh, they made your shirt inside out because the pocket is on the inside."
Yeah.
But then it's super.
Is there a pocket on the other side?
There is not.
They just really wanted to highlight the pocket.
So it's kind of crazy because it is inside out.
It's literally inside out, but with the pocket on that. That is interesting.
So it's I wear it when I'm feeling kind of quizzical, and I'm like, do I want people to judge me today? Yes, I do.
Do I want everyone to think that my shirt's backwards, but inside that like I took the pocket off the front and put it on the other side? Like
it's wiggity wiggity whack. Did you get that reference?
I was just thinking the same thing. Is it inside out? Is it backwards? Oh, fun story that we don't have enough time for. I had a crisscross phase.
Did you really? Did you actually wear them backwards too, or you were just whack? Like, oh yes, you did. Oh, this is next week. We're going.
It was okay. Yeah, I did it backwards for. It was just a couple days that I did because it was really hard to live life.
Oh yeah,
I was a big fan. I followed him for a long time. Yeah.
And so this gives people homework for a week. If you have no idea who Chris Cross is, circa 1992, maybe 91, 92, look it up. Chris Cross was legit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller face.
Oh, Skilo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I wish I had a girl. And if I did, I would call her. I wish I was like 6'9".
Yeah. There we go.
Wish I had a rabbit. Oh wow, Skilo! Wow,
we're digging deep tonight.
Yeah. Okay. I think we should part ways.
I think you need to go grill some chicken. I need to go get a chimichanga.
You go get a chimichanga. I need to reach out. I'm gonna reach out to to see if we can't figure something out for your son, if that's something we think we want.
That's sweet. Yeah.
I don't know. I make no promises. Like,
whatever.
There's a good chance every time they're like,
I'm gonna go tell him right now.
And they're gonna be like,
if it doesn't work out.
Who are you again? And I'll be like, oh crap. Anyway, so appreciate you all. Tomorrow morning, make sure you join Ray again for the Dave, quick look who's on tomorrow morning.
Oh, who's on first?
I didn't look.
Don't
who's
do
on
that
first?
to me.
Here, I got you.
I know
tomorrow
Ray.
is where's it at? Ray. Oh, with Megan Hosey, like Megan from the team, like
Megan
ambassador
no longer
program.
Deegan Hosey. Megan,
yes, Megan no longer Deegan Hosey, which is her official name. So her and Ray, so that's gonna be great because Megan is like an OG. Like she had an interview on the other day. Megan's like an OG good method user. So, and with just mastery learning,
and she brought it to a new school, new district, new state this year.
Yes, and the fact that she did mastery learning, I believe, was a big factor in her getting hired there too. So this is gonna be super cool. So tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Eastern time, and then again, of course, on Friday, 7 a.m. with the amazing Brad Hughes. We'll be back next week. You're not gone next week, right? You're here.
I am here.
Next week's a celebration. You know why next week's a celebration?
Because we'll be 2 days away from hanging out together.
Because we'll be 2 days away from hanging out together. That's why next week is a celebration. Everyone have an amazing rest of your week, of your day, of your week. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Appreciate y'all.